Who is the Chariot? Well, in this series, we take a look at these individual tarot cards to understand their specific meanings and messages. My name is Crow. It's lovely to have you here today. And to answer my initial question, well, the answer is you. The Chariot's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? If I say, who is the Chariot, or what is the Chariot, they both sound kind of right and kind of wrong. Well, because we're talking about psyche, the 22 divisions of consciousness that are represented by the Major Arcana, the answer is who and therefore you. Because we're talking about the individual. Now, the Chariot is number 7 of the Major Arcana, but it is, of course, the 8th card in the series. Another major change that comes with the Chariot is the amount of symbology that's in this card. It is chock full. So we will cover as much as we can, but with all these cards, really these videos are an introduction. We could talk about each of them indefinitely. There's so much to cover. These are really the main points for you to start investigating the card yourself. The more you meditate on it, the more you focus upon the card, the more will be revealed. Now, the Chariot. The main thing that comes across, of course, is action. The Chariot is all about action. So let's review where we've been. We have had this division of the conscious and the subconscious mind. We've seen the permutations to lower states of mind in the Emperor and the Empress. And then we've seen the union during the marriage ceremony and then last time with the lovemaking. And now we have really the union moving through the journey together. And this is really represented with those two sphinxes at the bottom there. The black and the white sphinx. Conscious and subconscious mind. Yin and yang. Positive and negative. Now, the sphinxes tell us so much about what's going on with the Chariot. The sphinxes in of themselves are combinations. Classically, you would have the body of the bull, the claws of the lion, the wings of the eagle, and the head of the man. And these represent the 4 elements: earth, water, air, and fire, but not in that order. And, of course, they're combined to make spirit. And we can see the 2 distinctions of spirit in the positive and negative. And in both of these distinctions are separated into elements. So you've got a lot of balancing that's going on here. On the front of the Chariot there, we've got that little spinner, the mallet. And this is representing balance, concentration, discipline, control. On this winged crest here. Sort of looks a bit like a golden snitch out of Harry Potter. And that's another symbol of the Chariot. Is about success, is about accomplishment. But let's talk about the main figure in the Chariot. So we've got this individual here. I would say this particular depiction actually looks quite androgynous. But I think it's meant to be normally quite a masculine figure. And they are standing in the Chariot, but they are not controlling these sphinxes with any reins. Instead, they've got the wand. Just like the magician, they're controlling the situation with their mind, with their focus, with their awareness. They're wearing beautiful armor, and there's a square, of course, on the chest there. So if we look back to the Hierophant, we've got this division of consciousness into spirit, mind, and body, which would be circle, triangle, and of course square. So the square here being the physical actions that must be taken. And yet you've got this curtain covered in stars, and it's parted. I'm reminded of that story, of course, in the Bible, the splitting of the curtain. This stepping into the knowledge of the two worlds, of the higher mind and the lower mind, the division of consciousness. This connection to the higher mind, always there. And this is why the chariot is also, the driver is wearing a crown, symbolizing that authority coming from the divine mind. Now, the chariot is meant to embody movement, but of course it's a static picture. And this is showing us that it's all an illusion, really. A mental projection. In Jungian psychology, this is a main factor, really, is all is mind. And of course, everything that's happening within mind is mental projection. Now, that doesn't mean, oh, if I jump off a bridge, nothing's going to happen because it's all imagination. You know, you'll go splat. There are rules. And I think the message from the Matrix that Morpheus says comes into bear here. Some of these rules can be bent, others can be broken. And the more mastery you have, the more you can bend and break these rules. But when you're first starting off, you need to play by the preset rules that already exist. So you need to look both ways before crossing the street. You need to make sure you're getting enough to drink, have enough water. There's lots of things that you need to treat the world with sincerity. But understanding that over time, humanity can start to affect things. So before the Wright brothers, we couldn't fly. Flying was the realm of birds and the like, and it was merely a dream. And then we discovered the means to do so. We raised our consciousness to the point where we understood greater laws at play, which allowed us to build craft, fly through the sky. And this is where it comes to. Through our human development has shown us, as humanity evolves and our minds expand, we can more and more take advantage of the world and change things. There are so many things that happen in the modern world that we take for granted, and yet to the past peoples, to our ancestors, these would have been miraculous, magical experiences. So the chariot embodies this idea, this progress, this moving forward, this evolution. But that evolution must be balanced. It must be controlled. We can see these sphinxes here. If one of them pulls too far to the left or the right, well, the chariot's going to tip over. They need to pull in unison. You need to control both halves of your mind, the conscious and the subconscious. The mallet's there showing us control is key. Now the chariot is pulling away from this castle in the background, and it's moving out to new horizons. And a chariot is an interesting symbol, isn't it? It's not a carriage. A carriage is something, it is a vehicle of transportation. A chariot is a thing of battle, of conquest. The chariot is all about exploration and expansion, conquering new domains of the mind. And so all this is coming from a point of balance, of control, of discipline, and yet there is a connection remaining, a connection sustained with the higher mind, with intuition, with guidance. But it is a card of boldness. It is a card of adventure. I feel the Fool energy coming in here. A lot of the Chariot is all about this mixing of the previous symbols. So we've got the Fool energy taking on a new horizon. We've got the Magician there controlling the situation with the wand. We've got the High Priestess as parting of the curtain, the knowledge from above. The Emperor expanding to new terrain. And the Empress, this wonderful abundance castle in the background. We've got the Hierophant and the Lovers then with the Sphinx as well. So there's a lot going on in this card, and it's sort of a bit of a homage to all the previous cards. In your journey, you've now reached a point where you've integrated all these previous aspects enough that you can now advance to the next stage. And this is the final point I want to come to with the Chariot, is another point about the Sphinxes. The Sphinxes are all about power and wisdom, but they are guardians of the threshold. They would guard the tombs of the kings, of the treasure within. And the classic tale, of course, is answering the Sphinx's riddle. The Sphinxes are testers. They are judges, seeing if you're ready to progress to the next level of consciousness. Have you learnt the lessons from the previous cards? Have you developed yourself enough to expand, to travel to the next level? And the Sphinxes will judge if you are ready. So I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. Thank you very much for being here. If you've got any cards you'd like me to explain or any readings you'd like me to do, please leave a comment down below. If you'd like a private reading, you can find the link to that in the description. Take care, and I'll see you next time.